A little touch of gray kinda suits you anyway. Doopa doopa doopa. No copyright strikes, Pika. Remember I shaved down a couple of weeks ago? Well, it's the Bruins are in the playoffs, so growing a playoff beard. That's, I've had a beard, kept a beard, lost a beard, and now I'm putting it back. But I hadn't shaved like down to my skin in a very long time, so it's growing back, and it's growing back a little paler than what it was. It's formerly chestnut auburn glory that you could see the red highlights in the sun. It was my Irish heritage. It was. And now, my other Irish heritage is turning stark white. It's not gray. It's white. It's definitely. Pre-recorded live before a studio audience of stuffed animals from our Boston studios. Welcome back once again to the Comics Coffee Table, where we take a break out of our busy day, and we choose to spend a couple of minutes taking our minds off our minds, hanging out together here at this very Comics Coffee Table. Thank you so much for showing up today. Once again, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. Click on those notifications. Subscribe if you already haven't. If you like this kind of content, make it part of your day. Show up whenever you can. I mean, we're on the march to our first 1,000 subscribers, and that's on the way to monetization and growing. And thank you so much. I couldn't have done this without you. We couldn't have done this without you. We could not have done this without each other together. We're doing this together. We're here together, and we're leaving the real world problems over there together. We're pulling up a chair. We are sitting beside each other. We're grabbing a cuppa, whatever it is. We're shoving under our noses today there, pal. We used to say chief, but, that's like 70s and 80s kind of level, Boston, Southie, Dorchester neighborhood thing. But, too many oversensitivities in modern culture. Maybe calling people, hey, chief, maybe that should be left in the 20th century. And we should find new things to call each other going in the future, like snap ahead. And, hey there, keyboard warrior. How you feeling today, tough guy? Yes, this is what we tune in for. We are a comic book lovers YouTube channel, and I love comic books. I love floppies. The monthly periodical. I like individual issues over trade paperbacks and collections. That's just I'm a Bronze Age baby. I grew up with the spinner rack in my corner stores around here, around Dorchester and South Boston. The spinner racks of my youth filled my life with affordable comic books made for a child that had pocket money. But that was a 20th century problem. We're in the 21st century with 21st century problems that really will need 21st century solutions. And we're all here together trying to solve these problems together. But until then, let's take a break for a couple of minutes and talk about comic books. Thank you. Yeah, pre-recorded live before a studio audience of stuffed animals from our Boston studios. My executive producer, Pika, writes show notes. Copious amounts of show notes that I have to read and get through their horrible penmanship. Or is it Pokemonship? Or is it pen-poke-ship? It's modernity. And this is Drinka. He's the camera operator and boom mic operator. He's on his union break as well. So, and I do not smell booze coming off you. I don't. Nope. And that's Jay the Canadian Bear, our studio audience. Indeed. Everyone has a roll. I've had a few. A cinnamon roll. Hey, here's a culinary thing. Use a cinnamon roll if you can next time. A glazed cinnamon roll, freshly made, you tear off a piece, and you use it as a spoon for chili. Friends from Nebraska. I'm from Boston, you know what I mean? So I had friends from Nebraska teach me this trick, and I was like, game changer. The sweetness goes with the savoriness. It's magnificent. Try it, and especially with green scallions too, freshly cut green scallions everywhere. Maybe cheese. It all works. Seriously, it's divine. A union, a harmony of flavors. Thank you so much. And you know what? So if you didn't know it, I'm a professional chef. I make cooking videos. Wes from Thinking Critical, who has me on his Saturday panel show, The Comics Aficionados. Tune in Saturdays, 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern, and it's one of the best panel shows. 6 people, one topic. Well, a couple of different topics, but it's all about comics and pop culture and what we're tuned into and turned on to. And it's been because of Wes and creators like him, been connected into a huge sphere of YouTube comic book creators, content creators, and it's fun. And I love talking about comic books. We proved that we can talk about comic books every day, just for a couple of minutes. This is what we're doing here with today's show. We are reboarding, rebagging, and reboxing my entire collection. And I'm using these 2 books to help me with that. Since I'm migrating, I'm moving from long boxes to short boxes, because the older I get, the heavier they get. I stepped on a scale with a full long box, and it weighs 50 pounds. It's an awkward kind of 50 pounds too, and so break your problems down into smaller things and deal with them. So I'm also buying my supplies at the local comic book shop because it helps keep them open. They need our business. Seriously, this is my advocacy. This is my activism. This is my redistribution of personal wealth as well. I want to keep my local comic book shop open for as long as humanly possible. I want to contribute to their success. If that means paying the markup for supplies such as corrugated short boxes, acid-free boards, and snugs, then that's the thing. I could be getting them from my online supply chain, the one with the free shipping and the built-in movie channel. But how is that helping the brick and mortar mom and pop shops? I have a local comic book shop. I'm blessed to, and I'm blessed to live in an area where I legitimately have several to choose from. So not getting things on new release day. And happy Wednesday, by the way. It is new release day. God bless you. Put in your new releases. What are you getting this week? Drop that in the comment section. Drop that in the live chat. If you are lucky enough, you can tune in at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern and be blessed with a great crowd of comic book fans daily. We just talk about comic books. And if I'm able to make it, I will be there. Sometimes I'm on the subway. I'm a chef. Sometimes I could be working late. It happens. Occupational hazard. But for the most part, I'm blessed to make these my own live chat premieres, and also the comment section. We keep this comic book shop style conversation going. Yes, I'm enthused. This is good stuff, and you're part of this. All of us together. This is great. Every day, love me your own special way. You're all soft and warm like a buttermilk biscuit. What was the other next line? You're like a pair of hush puppies. Martin Lawrence and House Party, man. The best teen movies ever in the late 80s. Oh, man, early 90s. What are we getting this week, Pika? I will tell you, you're with me right now. I am probably, if it's 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, I am, and it's about 10 past. If it's 3:10 p.m. U.S. Eastern in the live chat right now, you are all with me right now. Legitimately, this is how it's going. I'm in the local comic book shop. Look, it's Rainbow the Brute. Upcoming. What is that? He's the toughest man in Fairyland. a boy's toy stuck in a girl's toy, sphere. Like if you had a He-Man in Rainbow and Strawberry Shortcake, it's He-Man in Strawberry Shortcakeville. It's gonna be fun. I've backed this as a crowdfunder. I backed it twice, to be honest. It's yeah, it's. I'm here with you right now on my YouTube app. And I'm telling you, okay, I'm walking into the comic book shop and I am picking up, this is what's on the shelf right now. And I'm looking through the back issues and I'm getting into great conversations. I love my local comic book shop. I really do. I live in Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's a blue state. I live in a blue city in a blue state. And it's got nothing to do with nothing except for explaining, setting up the situation and or just painting the picture. It's Somerville, Massachusetts, which is it's a city, which is next to the city of Cambridge, which is right across the River Charles, from Boston proper. This is Boston. I grew up in South Boston. I've lived in Boston, and I've moved over the bridge. It's getting expensive for blue-collar people to live in the city and around. Don't even get me started there, pal. But, yeah. But, yeah, drop your new releases, what you're getting. That's what we're usually talking about on Wednesday, what we're getting. But I was in my local comic book shop last week, and well, this is just like the way the world is. Okay, it's a good situation. And let's talk about spaces. Maybe safe spaces, maybe appropriate spaces. I don't care about, poking people with terminologies. But what I did care about was last week, it's great, just a series of great little, neighborhood moments with other people around you. And my local comic book shop has been around for about more than 20 years. Has moved locations several times. I know at least 4 distinct locations. They've been at this last location a long time now, less than a decade. They've doubled their store space. They're successful. They're also an antique toy store as well. I mean, I'm so blessed to have been able to bring new friends there to show off this gem of a store. They got great shelves. They got great new releases. They always have good sales, grab bags, 4 or 5 used trade paperbacks for $20, that kind of stuff, filled with all the old stores you can, with a great, cool staff. But remember, like I said, it's a blue shop in a blue city in a blue state, and we all know that I live in my Froggy hoodie, in my all caps comics, Cyber Frog hoodie. I wear it underneath my jacket every week to the comic book shop. Why? Because I like sneaking in, being subversive. But also, I share that to EVS on Twitter. It's like, I sneak you in every week. Shh. I wouldn't want to get judged for liking Ethan, or buying his comics and backing his funny books. It doesn't make me adjacent to any kind of H8 groups. I don't fall for that narrative. I'm not buying what that's being sold. I have better sense than that. I grew up in South Boston with actual racists. I know what one is. Fuck off with that H8 group stuff. They were conservatives that liberals had literally bounced out of comics. And it's like shock jock 90s sports radio over there. It's wrestling. And it's kind of funny. It's my sense of humor. It might not be yours. And, but yeah, okay, so going back, the story. There were 3 teenage girls looking in at all the toys and and it was just I was tempted to be like, hey, what are you buying? What are you reading? But I'm a 50-year-old man. You know how creepy that can be perceived and leveraged against someone? You just don't, common sense, maturity kicks in. You don't do stuff like that. Unfortunately, though, I mean, it's talk about spaces. That's, is what's a safe space? What's appropriate? Can you please get your politics out of my comic books? What comics are you reading? I've always just wanted to do that. that poor lady. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I could just be interested in, like, what are you reading? I mean, and like, oh, you might like this. Here's issue 4 of Ms. Marvel from 1977. This, I think, did you know about this? Comic book shop should be a space where you can have those kind of conversations. Ageless, limitless, genderless. We've always been this. I would definitely even say that if I'm at the con and like people of that age, are in cosplay, it's best to, I'm friendly and I'm like, hey, Stargirl, you look great. Hey, Raven, there's so many Ravens and Starfires. They're great, like, friends who do that, girlfriends, like one's Starfire and one's Raven. I've seen so many duos. That's so wonderful. There are a lot of Ivies and Harleys now, just of all shapes and sizes. And who invented gender swaps and race swaps? It was cosplayers. No one gave a shit. I mean, it was, oh gosh, 2013 Boston Comic Con. I'm just like, look at the splendor and love. Gee, so if I saw those, like, the same 3 girls, like, if it cosplay, like, hey, you look great, Starfire, I would say something like that. But keep it, that's it. I wouldn't, but in the comic book store, I was definitely like, I would love to know what those 3 are buying. But, just, no, you can't. In a way. And then also there was a parent in there with their 2 or maybe 2 small children and one in a stroller. And and the one of the staff says, "Hey, no throwing that ball in here," because they bounced it off the floor once. And she was friendly and professional and at the same time authoritative. And that boy just snapped to it and he was like, "Yes, ma'am," and kind of thing. And that was so cute. But the actual children and young people are denizens of my local comic book shop. My local comic book shop before lockdown 2020 has in their back room, in their big hall of vintage toys, tables, long tables for children to play tabletop games and card games. I don't know any of this stuff. I mean, this is a great bookmark. It's seriously. I mean, this is Pika making show notes. I bring this to the bar, the pub down the street, and I read as I'm eating my supper. This is great. This is a good read. There are links, like I said, to its Amazon pages in the description. Or maybe try to get them at your local comic book shop. There's that too. I mean, they are their price. Seriously, yeah. I mean, but this was literally a good $25 spent. Yeah, and yeah, so that's my local comic book shop. I mean, there's young people. I mean, but you don't want to be a creep and creepy, because that's it's yes, it's an intention, but there's also a perception as well, and but it's just wonderful. And then there's also guys my age coming to pick up their pull list on a Wednesday. And it's New Comic Book Day. And Free Comic Book Day is coming up too. It's the first Saturday in May. And that's like right around the corner. And maybe I should just show up to my comic book shop and just see what the deal is and to see what's going on Free Comic Book Day. Because, see how busy it is. I think that'll be, yeah, maybe we should have a video date. Maybe we should do that. You can check it out. We were talking about my my Image long box. Established in 2010. Image Comics, yeah. Image Comics is great. I mean, like I said, I was not big into them in the 90s. I knew all about them, yeah, but I was in my 20s by then. And I was literally doing other things. I took a break from comics, but I always had my finger on the pulse, so I wasn't buying when Superman came back from the dead. I just didn't care about it. And then Green Lantern went all evil. It was weird. And and then Asbats, it was Bane's, it broke Batman's back, and I just knew that was part of a cycle that they would return sooner or later, and they did. And so I wasn't there for I basically got off the ship at X-Men Onslaught. That was after the first Age of Apocalypse. That was the first Age of Apocalypse was amazing. But I'm in my early 20s. I'm working all the time. I'm working in a restaurant. Actually, literally the Hard Rock Cafe in Boston at its original Clarendon Street location. There was a wonderful time to be young, working with people your own age, making money, having a great social life, meeting dames, owning downtown Boston. You know what I mean? There's stretch of Boylston Street that's, that just, what do you do after work? We're going down to the Parish Cafe to get something to eat. And most of us got to the beer list and got our mugs with our engraving on it. Mine, I broke 2 of them, and I treated them like enterprises. So mine was number 112C. I think I had a Frank Zappa quote that could be easily misconstrued as misogyny. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, I wasn't buying comic books. And so I took a break in the mid-90s up until 2001. And I came back with Grant Morrison's New X-Men, Judd Winnick's Green Lantern, and also Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns 2, which I stand by. It was amazing. I hate his treatment of Dick Grayson, but I understand it and I can respect it. It was, wow, DK2 for its time was really interesting. And Lynn Varney's colors on that now, it's such a difference between the hand-colored Dark Knight Returns and then the digitally colored Dark Knight 2, DK2. But it was really interesting. And you know how I feel about digital coloring now, huh? Warren Ellis. Fans of the show will know that I am a fan of Warren Ellis. Did I ever finish this? Wow. I have 13 issues of this. Let's see if that's the last issue. And thank you so much for tuning in. Injection by Warren Ellis. Wikipedia there were 15 issues, so I'm missing 2 issues of this. It would be worth it for me to get issues 14 and 15, so only to have the complete collection to wrap up and sell. But I haven't read this in forever. I mean, I'm gonna read this from, you guessed it, the Wiki. All right, let's get into it. Injection is an American Comics ongoing series created in 2015 by Warren Ellis and illustrated by Declan Shalvey and Jordan Belair, who previously collaborated on Ellis's Moon Knight run for Marvel Comics. The comic is a high-concept science fiction fused with elements of magic and mythology, and also invokes British literary and pop cultural archetypes, such as Bernard Quatermass, Sherlock Holmes, Doctor Who, James Bond, and Carnacki. The series has been optioned for television by Universal Cable Productions. See, Warren Ellis is one of those, is like the Mark Miller level of creative, of story maker. Someone that has a panache for not just making great big 2 comic books, superhero comic books, and knowing the genre so well, but they can just push out new stories, new IPs. So in the Netflix boom, Warren was very, very marketable. I think currently he's just doing consulting work. I'm still tuned into him. I follow him on Twitter. I try to read his Orbital. It's called Orbital Operations. I think that's the current name. I'm not sure, but I try to read his blog as much as possible. I like Warren. What happened to him was kind of cheap. he kind of walked into it too. Of course, he contributed to his own state, and he's contributing into making it better, on the terms that they're establishing. It's none of my fucking business, to be honest, and none of yours either. But at the same time, I would like to have Warren Ellis funny books from Image Comics. I would love Warren to go the crowdfunding route. Do what the bad persons are doing. They're successful, and they're doing. I mean, there is a system out there for that. But Image, won't publish Warren Ellis until he's atoned for his sins. We talked about that before. We don't have to talk about that, much. But this one, 15 issues. Okay, so it's a group of the plot. A group of 5 highly specialized individuals. Injection. Are brought together by the British government to hypothesize about the future of human culture. This is Warren Ellis, the futurist, the sci-fi, maestro. Discovering the results, the group decide to act on it by creating an unusual artificial intelligence using a combination of technology and shamanistic magic, which makes its way into the world. The group, now disbanded, finds itself brought back together when the intelligence reemerges, creating specialized havoc that draws inspiration from mythology and superstition. Let's crack one open and look at it. Of course, we have spine roll. Lovely old spine roll. Not that bad. Like literally, I've read this once. This is a brand new magazine, $2.99 cover price. Let's look at the Indicia colophone, because that's what we do here. This is hopefully that's something like you are now totally the master and mistress of. The Indicia colophone of referring to the publication stuff, and that the masthead. And just like here we are. I mean, just like this is Robert Kirkman, Eric Larson, Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, Jim Valentino. Yeah. Remember, Jim Lee sold Aegis / Wildstorm to DC Comics. Indeed. Yeah, and but it's interesting art. It's Warren Ellis is it's just he makes Warren Ellis flavored stories. Mark Miller makes Mark Miller stories. You should always expect something, if you expect safe in a Mark Miller story, you have come to the wrong author. Yeah, so yeah, I got 13 of 15. So yeah, I'm going to hustle down issues 14 and 15 of Injection, because it's kind of useless having, without it. I mean, and it's Warren Ellis, so you know what? I will reread these. I haven't read these in forever, and because he was doing it was 2015, and Warren Ellis was just making lots of new stories and publishing on Image, and but yeah, I mean, hi, welcome to the Dead Horse Channel. We specialize in glue, Elmer's glue, white glue, and dog food. Oh, all I can think about is beating a dead horse kind of thing. You should read 1984 by George Orwell. I've read it twice in the past 3 years. It's a quick read, and but never forget Old Major and the Knacker coming to get him. And it's just like, that pathos, moments of pathos, of sheer heart-rending, unnecessary evil. Is that evil? what brings out pathos? Pathetic? Wow. What is good the opposite of evil? Or is the pathetic the result of evil? Who knows? We ask these questions and more every day at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. Tune in. Like, subscribe. I would love it if you could subscribe right now. Click on those notifications. Be part of this. 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. We come to this comics coffee table and we talk about comic books just for a couple of minutes every single day. We're proving that it's possible. Seriously, tune in. You are welcome here. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.